We can stand here and lament and make all beautiful statements and condemn certain individuals, but we are not going to the root cause of the problem. The statement presented by Senator Hamida has given statistics, and they have said that Nairobi County is leading in unwanted pregnancy by 78%. And they said Nyanza province is 69.4%. They also talked about Central Province, 78.3%. Mr. Speaker, the most important thing for us to ask ourselves is, what is sort of like similar in all these counties? The rate of poverty in these counties is very high. Because when you ask yourself, who are these young girls who are getting pregnant in Nairobi? It is the informal sector. It is in public schools. If you go to private schools where the rich take their children, where we take our children, the rate of pregnancy there is quite low. Because those kids are educated, those kids are given activities to be able to take. We are not. The biggest problem, we're the ones who incubate this problem, ensure that it gives birth, and then instead of having a proper solution, we come and lament here. This is an issue where the Ministry of Education, yesterday I was surprised. I was watching in the news, the Committee of Education had invited the Ministry of Education to the National Assembly. And even when you're looking at the priorities of that Ministry of Education, they had forgotten one very important basic thing, which is to budget for the exams that these children are taking. If we are not budgeting for the exam for these children, we are not investing in making sure that we support these children. We come up with policies that guarantees free primary education, free secondary education. How then are we going to come up and stop this issue of pregnancy? Sometimes people sit down and they say, life is too hard. All I want to do is to get a meal for the day. And when these kids who are vulnerable, when they go home, the parents are out there working to be able to feed those kids. And when those kids do not have activities to do, what do you expect them to do? They will be lured by guys who drive borders, who've got some little money. They'll be lured by politicians like us. They'll be lured by rich people from the cities. And these kids will be mesmerized. And what do you know? They're pregnant. And then that is when they realize, oh my God, what did I just do? I think we need to ask ourselves, what steps do we need to take to be able to solve this problem? I think when I look at the senators who are in this chamber right now, I know Senator Mungatana is a father of girls. I know Senator Halwale is a father of girls, many girls. I know my good friend from Kwale is a father of girls. I'm a father of girls. So this is our problem. This is something that we need to take. I know the speaker is a father of girls. So really, all of us here, including the majority leader, they're all fathers of girls. So what should we be doing? What we should be advocating is not lamenting, but rather saying, how do we ensure that these girls remain in school? I always hear when we politicians make statements and say no child should be left behind. But are we really investing money? Are we putting money in those schools? Are we creating jobs for those kids to be able to have those jobs? This is a time when all of us should be asking ourselves, even in our own environment, are we creating internships, opportunities? In America, where I grew up, you will see a high school kid, when they're in recess, or when they're on their school holidays, that kid is doing a job, working at KFC to raise money. I raised money. I was doing 2-3 jobs to be able to go to school. But here, no, it's a problem. We are not creating jobs here. We are busy fighting between the Senate and the National Assembly on who is superior. Yet, our children, independent institutions come and carry out surveys. This one, I think, was done incidents of induced abortion and related complications. Now, let's talk about the issue of abortion. When we talk about abortion in this country, one of the biggest issues that has been raised here as a concern is the issue of Plan B, where a child has unprotected sex, and then they are educated that you can get Plan B. You can get a pill the next day, and that is it, and you move on. Who should be the first person to educate these children or the dangers of these induced abortions? Is it the Poison and Pharmacy Board? Is it us? Is it the parents? That is a conversation we need to be able to have. Nowadays, because of all of us trying to line our pockets to drive big cars and just enjoy our life, we miss out on our traditional cultural ceremonies. Before, the Luyas would be meeting and sitting down. They'll be having ceremonies. The Kalenjins, the Maasais will have the same ceremonies. And we'll talk about the importance, of respecting young girls. In our Maasai culture, I'll tell you this. Before a boy is circumcised, that night you are asked whether you've slept with any woman. If you happen to have slept with a woman, nobody will hold your back. You are called Orgidegenyi. When we stopped all that, we stopped really focusing on that. People argue there is an issue of health concerns. Health concern my foot. All we need to do is to ask ourselves, can we now go back to our traditional cultures? Can we go back on the most important tenets? What holds this community? Otherwise, Senator Muma will be coming here and lamenting and telling us, give us statistics. Give us statistics for Narok. Give us statistics. But are we going to eat statistics? No. I really feel the pain that my good Senator Muma has, the way she's feeling so passionate about this issue. But are we solving the problem? The problem is one. All of us must now put our foot down and demand that these kids, we must have free education in this country. We must support our public schools. Yesterday I was hearing that we have so many teachers who are interns, and they cannot be absorbed because there is no money. What do we need to do? I think, Majority Leader, it's about time that we start realigning our own existing resources. We start looking at ways that we can absorb these children, creating cultural things. In fact, the only thing that politicians do now is to be able to sponsor soccer tournaments. You'll sponsor soccer tournaments, and you know what? You are eyeing 2027 because you want to bring people together, play soccer, give them T-shirts, give them balls, and then tomorrow you'll remember, oh, I'm the one who sponsored a soccer tournament in the whole of Narok County. Instead of us investing in mentoring activities, the women, the professional women's here, what we should be hearing is that we have a problem. And to solve this problem, we must go to the root cause of this problem. These kids are idle. These kids are poor. Their families don't even have food. They are lured. So we agree and say, what do we do? What activities do we give these children when they're on school holidays? But if we stand here and we say, Senator Ledama brings statistics of the children in girls in Narok who are pregnant, what are those statistics going to help you with? Nothing. Of course, they can inform you when it comes to the issue of decisions, but if you cannot solve the basic problem of ensuring that that child is busy, talking to that child about her future, talking to that child, when we were growing up, the most important thing was for you to finish school, get a white-collar job. Now, we don't need to get white-collar jobs anymore. We can be creative. We can be creative. In the Maasai culture, we can use our tools, make beadwork. The women in our culture, I'm told that I have some girls from Sikanani school here, and I hope that they'll still be around. We just invested about 120 million by the national government to build a bidding center. I hope this bidding center can take these girls there, mentor them, so that even if they don't get jobs, they can be able, in future, they can be able to make money for themselves. So, Mr. Speaker, I support this statement, but apart from just giving statistics, I think it now behooves all of us to start thinking and saying, what are we going to do to ensure that we promote free primary and secondary education, and we introduce mentoring programs to help children understand their sex health. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mungatana.